Welcome to the dark side. Black Rose.
Welcome guys to part 4 of my webinar. Builder webinar. Part 4 guys. So we're going to be talking about part 4. It's going to be investment. Very important topic.
Black Rose.
Good investment. Bad investment, you get good one. Pay attention because I'm going to show you the good one, not the bad one. We will begin soon. For those who tune in and didn't watch part 1, 2, and 3 of my webinar, just register to my website at icrfinancialfitness.com/events, and you can register there and see the replay of part 1, 2, and 3. And for those who did register and see part 1, 2, and 3, I'm pretty much sure that you have the whole webinar, all the parts of the webinar, embedded into your cell phone with the QR code that I showed you guys on the beginning of part 1 of the webinar. Right? For those who took the financial literacy challenge, congratulations. For those who didn't, the website is right on the screen.
Black
We will begin in a couple of more minutes. For those who are watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube page. Ring the bell so you get more new content, and please share with everybody that you know. Again, if you missed the barcode from the webinar, there it goes. There's the barcode. Make sure you get it. There's the barcode. If you want to book an appointment with me, there's the QR code too. Those who want to support my content, there's the QR code too. Also, scan this QR code. Take this 5-question quiz to see where you at on your financial situation. Those who tune in and watch the entire webinar from part 1 all the way up to the end, they will have a chance to win a gift. which is a water bottle or a wallet or my book. Hey guys, make sure you have a pen, a notebook where you can write on, because there's going to be a lot of important topics that you guys could learn about. But you have to write them down. Hey guys, this is part four. This is part four of the free training slash webinar on how the seven financial milestones can help you optimize your personal finances and overall awesome new lifestyle. This is the 8-part webinar, guys. I broke it down into 8 parts. That way, it's more informative and it's more understandable. Okay, I'm gonna be starting in a couple of more minutes. One more minute, guys. One more minute. Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. This is Carlos from ICR Financial Fitness. And thank you for tuning in. For those who are tuned in, thank you very much for everybody that tuned in uh, to part four of this webinar, of the first annual webinar, you know, to repair your credit and get out of debt and protect yourself from a future financial health, health crisis, and also financial crisis. So, for those who watched part three, it was basically all about credit, all about tips and tricks and strategies about how to repair, boost, and increase your credit score 100 points or more. But I missed something. I missed two more secrets that I'm going to let you guys know now. So make sure you write this down, take a picture of it on your cell phone, screenshot, whatever you want to do with it, but make sure you have it. This is another secret. This is a secret that I did when my credit was messed up. This is how I built my credit. Basically, to establish a AAA credit in 30 days, you know, to work this plan, you need at least 400 to begin. $400 to begin. You should borrow this from your friends if necessary. Then go to a bank of your choice and deposit the $400 into a regular passbook savings account. Again, deposit it $400 in a regular passbook savings account. That's step one. You know, if you have the $400, cool. Just put it into a savings account in a passbook savings account on a bank. You know, a major bank like Bank of America. That's one of them. Then you wait a few days for the account to be posted and return to the bank to ask for $400 loan. You offer the passbook as collateral. Since the bank is already holding your $400, you go to another bank and open a savings account lending you another $400, and they won't even make a credit check. Then, with your borrowed $400, you go to another bank, open a savings account, return a few days later, borrow another $400, your passbook as collateral. Then you repeat the process at a third bank with your borrowed $400. You wait 400 days to go to the fourth bank where you open this time a checking account. Wait a few days and make a payment on each of the other three loans. A week later, Make payments again on the three loans and continue paying each week until you have almost paid off the balance. Then, a credit investigation at this point will show you with three active loans on three major banks, which are considered hard to get: a checking account, a paying history of the three major bank loans, with you having paid up in advance. Thus, you have AAA credit in as little as 30 days. From here, you go on to apply for loans, credit cards, and other items on credit wisely. Don't go out and start applying for more credit cards and stuff like that. If you're gonna apply for credit cards, three only. Like I said before, on part three of my credit repair webinar, you know, that is combined with this one. So if you missed part three, I suggest you register to my website, which you're gonna see later on the screen, and register there, and you can see part one, two, and three. You know, the replays of part one, two, and three. Soon, I'm gonna have the whole entire webinar when it's all done. It's gonna be live 24/7 on my live stream, you know, Credit Secret network here in the Connecticut area. All right. So that's the secret, guys. Now let's go to another secret. 6 credit card secret banks don't want you to know. Number one, interest backdating. Most card issues most card issues charge interest from the date a charge is posted to your account. If you don't pay in full monthly, but some change interest from day of purchase, days before days before they have even paid the store on your behalf. Remedy: find another card issuer or always pay your bills in full by the due date. Secret number two, the two cycle billing. Issues which you use method of calculating interest. Change 2 months worth of interest. For the first month, you fail to pay off your total balance in full. This issue arises only when you switch from paying in full to carrying a balance from month to month. Remedy: switch issuers or always pay your balance in full. Secret number three, the right to set off. If you have money on deposit at a bank and also have your credit card there, you may have signed an agreement when you open the deposit account, which permits the bank to take those funds if you become delinquent on your credit card. Remedy: bank at separate institutions or avoid delinquencies, period. Secret number four, fees are negotiable. You may be paying up to $50 a year or more in annual fees on your credit card. You may also be subject to finance charges of over 18% interest. Remedy: if you are a good customer, the bank may be willing to drop the annual fee and reduce interest rate. At 9%, you only have to ask. Otherwise, you can switch issuers to a lower price card. Secret number five, interest rate hikes are retroactive. If you sign up for a credit card with a low teaser rate, such as 7.9%, which the low rate period expires, your existing balance will likely be subject to the regular and substantially higher interest rate. Remedy, pay in full before the rate increases or close the account, period. Secret number six, shorten due dates. Most card issuers offer 25 days grace period in which to pay for a new purchase without inquiring finance charges. Some banks have shortened the grace period to 20 days, but only for customers who pay in full monthly. Remedy, ask to go back to 25 days. So there you go, guys. Those are the six credit card bank secrets that they don't want you to know about. So that's what I missed on the credit repair webinar that I had a couple of weeks ago on part three. And those are the secrets. All right. So write them down, guys. Write them down. Take a snapshot of it. Take a screenshot. You know, make sure you do. Make sure you do. All right. So let's continue. This is one of the 10 of my actual investment plan strategies. Which, for those who missed webinar part three, I went deeper into how this retirement investment calculator works. So, I'm just going to give you a quick example. Let's say your age is 30 years old and you want to retire at age 70. To at least make a million, you have to invest $300. You have to contribute $300 every single month at 8% interest on an investment vehicle that's going to give you 8% interest by the age you are 70 years old. Your result in 40 years, a monthly investment of $300 will grow to over $1 million at 8% interest rate. What I want you guys to do is watch this video because it's going to explain to you more in detail what investment I am talking about. Okay? After the video, if you have any questions, please write them down. When the webinar finish, send them to me and I will respond to those questions at the best of my knowledge. But I'm pretty sure you might understand what the video is going to be about. So enjoy the video. So let's get deeper. Let's say your gross pay from your job. Okay, let's say your gross pay from your job is $700 a week. That's how much you get paid. That's your gross pay times 4 weeks. All right. Multiply that by 4. That's $2,800 a month. That's your monthly income. Minus expenses, which is $200. $2,000 actually. All expenses and debts. And you left with $800. Okay. If you left with $800, what you can do is, number one, the $250, you know, you can save that for emergency funds. The other $250, you can save that for, you know, things that you might need in the house, or you got, you know, like groceries to buy and things like that, like miscellaneous stuff. All right. Now the other $300, you can use that to invest on a vehicle, which after this, you're gonna watch a video and it's gonna show you on what you could invest those $300 on. All right. So pay attention to the video and, you know, enjoy it. So again, a monthly investment of $300 will grow to over $1 million at 8% interest. Okay, watch the video for you can see full details of what investment, you know, where you can put those $300, you know, where you could invest those $300 in a safe way, you know, that they won't take it away from you. All right, so enjoy the video. Again, enjoy the video. If you have any questions, please write them down.
Consumer advocate, tax expert, and educator Ed Slott is here to help you rescue your retirement by following his time-tested method of avoiding the 5 silent retirement killers. The Wall Street Journal called best-selling author Ed Slott the best source of IRA advice, and USA Today said it would be tough to find anyone who knows more about IRAs than CPA Slott. Here's Ed Slott.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Slott, and this program is called Life Insurance for Life and Beyond. Well, first, why am I talking about life insurance? Because life insurance may be the most underused strategy to protect large retirement balances from being decimated at the highest levels of taxation. So who's most at risk? Those of you who have the largest IRAs or other tax-deferred savings accounts. If you have taken the time to watch this DVD, then I know you want to learn more. So before we begin, just so you know, I don't sell life insurance. So why should I care? I don't sell stocks, bonds, funds, insurance, or annuities. I'm a tax advisor, but it's all about the taxes. I also believe most people don't understand how life insurance works as an effective planning tool. I don't sell it, and I'm no expert in exactly how all the various life insurance contracts work. That's why there are life insurance professionals that you need to work with to fill in all the details. But I do know the end result. It's like a car. I know it gets you there, but I don't know how the engine works. But I do know how life insurance can fix lots of money and retirement problems, and even create wealth, and tax-free wealth. And you know, I love tax-free. I only care about the end result, the benefits to you. I want you to know how powerful the end result is. I want to give you enough here so that you'll understand what life insurance tax planning can do for you and your family, both during your lifetime and after your death. So why don't most people take advantage of life insurance? Because every time you hear life insurance, some people just tune out, or you put it off. And most times you hear about life insurance, you're hearing about it from someone who sells it. So maybe you feel like you're being sold rather than being advised. Maybe you think, they're just trying to sell me something. So you think, I'll avoid the meeting or avoid the discussion. And maybe you're right. Maybe you feel that you're just being sold, so you don't see a benefit to you. But I'm here to tell you, you could be wrong. I want you to understand what's in it for you from an unbiased, objective tax benefit point of view. Well, now you're meeting with me. So let me tell you why I believe life insurance is the missing piece in most people's retirement and estate plans. The tax exemption for life insurance is the single biggest benefit in the tax code. I don't even think life insurance professionals use it enough or appreciate it enough. Maybe that's why they don't offer this product. I put this brief guide together for you in the hope that you'll view it and see how tax planning with life insurance provides powerful benefits. And then you'll continue this conversation with your life insurance agent who can fill in all the details. Except that now, when you meet with him or her, you'll have a better understanding of the benefits and what questions to ask. You'll definitely be more involved in the discussion, especially when it comes to your retirement. First, let's see what the problem is, and let's see what the solutions are. The good news is that taxes are generally money problems, and life insurance puts lots of free money, tax-free money, in your pocket. So most tax problems can easily be avoided with great planning. Here are both the problems and the solutions, and I want to give you this program on two levels: the problems that can affect you during your lifetime, and the problems that can affect your beneficiaries, your family, after your death. So why would you care about a solution if you didn't think you had a problem? Well, if you have taxable savings, you have a problem, and so do your beneficiaries. In my public television program, I tell you about what I call the 5 silent retirement killers, and they must each be addressed, and one of them is risk. Most people think of this as investment risk, as in the stock market. But when it comes to your retirement savings, especially taxable IRAs and 401ks, an even bigger risk is tax risk. Many people think that simply having retirement savings is enough. It's not. It's what you keep that counts after taxes. There's a mortgage on your tax-deferred retirement savings. Most of that is owed right back to the government. In fact, future taxes could be 50 or 60% or more by the time you reach in for yours. That's not real money. The only real money is tax-free money, spendable money, where you keep it all. Plus, with IRAs and 401ks, you have to take required minimum distributions on that money after you reach age 70 and a half years old, and you're forced to pay taxes on the government's schedule, not yours. That's the government plan. That's not real money, since it's all subject to tax. Are you wondering what future taxes could do to your retirement security? You should be. You know why? You've caused the problem, especially if you've done everything right. You saved, you sacrificed, and built a healthy retirement account, a 401k or an IRA. So what's the problem with IRAs? The problem is they're tax deferred, not tax free. That money will be taxed at some future point. With an IRA, a SEP IRA, a simple IRA, 401k, 403b, or any other type of tax-deferred retirement plan, you received your tax deduction up front. Your retirement funds have grown tax-deferred all these years. So far, so good. You've done well. But there'll be a day of reckoning. You'll owe income tax when you begin to withdraw, just when you need the money the most. How much tax? We don't know. That's the problem. You won't know that until you need the money the most in retirement or after you die when your family is. This uncertainty keeps people up at night. So that is the tax risk. But there's another risk, market risk. Your retirement savings and other investments, if invested in the stock market, are also at risk of being lost to more Wall Street fraud or manipulation or a market crash at the wrong time for you. So let's review up to this point. Typical tax-deferred retirement savings like IRAs and 401ks are subject to 2 major risks: investment risk and tax risk. Now here's where the life insurance comes in. Life insurance can be used to remove both of these risks. Investment risk: with life insurance you get certainty, a guarantee. You cannot get a guarantee in the stock market. And tax risk: you eliminate that by never having to pay tax on this money. So you need to create a plan to move your money from accounts that are forever taxed to accounts that are never taxed. Life insurance is the best provision in the tax code to do that. Wouldn't you sleep better at night if you knew your retirement savings were no longer subject to these risks? But still, the benefits are misunderstood and not used enough in planning. So what are the benefits, and exactly how would you use life insurance in your planning? First, when I talk about life insurance, I'm referring to permanent insurance, permanent life insurance. Even with permanent insurance, there are several options, so you need to speak with an insurance professional for all of those details. And I mean permanent insurance to term insurance, which is more for younger families looking for the maximum death benefit. So here I'm talking about permanent insurance for those looking for retirement security and estate protection. As I've already told you, you have a tax problem, especially if you have significant funds in taxable and tax-deferred accounts. Your family will also have a problem after you die if no planning is done and they inherit mostly taxable funds. They're going to be dealing with these tax issues too. They also may be dealing with estate taxes, depending on the tax law when you die. And that changes all the time. So you need to plan for the worst case scenario and hope for the best. Your family will most likely also have a liquidity problem if retirement funds and other assets have to be cashed in quickly in order to raise money after death for taxes and other post-death expenses. Money is often needed after death to resolve all kinds of issues besides taxes. I'm talking about family squabbles, etc., family members wanting money more quickly. The last thing you want is for your family to have a fire sale, especially if there's a family business or other valuable property in your estate. You don't want your family wasting or cashing out retirement accounts or other valuable property prematurely because cash was needed quickly. You need to do a liquidity test right now so you can see if your family will have a cash problem after death. To gauge the problem, what I do is I take clients through my own type of liquidity analysis, because most are not liquid enough to avoid have to sell off investments, cashing in retirement, triggering unnecessary taxes. So what does my liquidity analysis do? It shows you how much of your estate can be turned into cash quickly without triggering taxes or losing value. Cash is often needed after death, even if there are no estate taxes. And remember, that's only federal taxes. Don't forget state estate taxes. There are always expenses, and the IRA is the last account you would want to have to tap into to pay those bills. Remember, IRAs are subject to both income taxes and estate taxes, could be subject to estate taxes, which could eat up a lot of cash quickly. You can work with your advisor and your CPA or accountant on this too, this liquidity analysis, to go through it with them. But here's what we do. We have clients make a list of all the assets you own. So do that now. Make a list of all the assets you own, less liability, mortgages, loans, debts, etc. In other words, your net worth. Now you have this list of property. Code all the property as either liquid or non-liquid. By liquid, I mean assets that can be most easily and quickly turned into cash without triggering a tax. What I call money you have to pay a toll on to get it, toll money. You're left with basically cash. Well, here's what I mean. IRAs I wouldn't include as liquid assets. You might say, oh, I have all this money in my IRA, but you have to pay a toll to get it. It's not liquid. You have to trigger taxes to get it. So I wouldn't put IRA in with liquid assets or cash. So here's what we do. We do a percentage, a fraction. The numerator is liquid assets, basically cash, your bank accounts, and I don't mean actual cash, but bank accounts that you could get money easily out of without triggering a tax bill. And again, do not include IRAs or 401ks here. Sure, they can be cashed in, but there's a toll on that money, and that will trigger a tax. Include only assets that could be sold quickly without triggering a tax or other expenses or losing significant value, like a fire sale. Sure, you could get money out of it quickly if you sell for a low price. So that's the numerator, basically liquid cash and accounts. Now the denominator is the value of your entire estate, everything, including the cash, including your assets, business interests, real estate, include all property in addition to the IRAs. Now look at that percentage, look at that fraction. For most people, cash over the total estate is about 5%, if that much. Do you know what that means? Turn it around. In other words, this means most estates are 95% illiquid. That's a problem. Unless you actually do have a ton of cash laying around available, but most people don't. Most people, when I do this liquidity analysis, at that moment realize that they have a huge liquidity problem. So now you know you have tax exposure, stock market risk, and a liquidity problem. So how can life insurance help? Two ways. During your lifetime, so there's something in it for you right now, and after your death. During your lifetime, you have the ability to reduce both stock market risk and tax risk by moving your money from accounts that are forever taxed to accounts that are never taxed. You can actually do that two ways: Roth IRAs and life insurance. Both cost money now, but with life insurance, you'll be creating a bigger pot of tax-free money later when it's most needed. It would be great if you could do both and turn your entire estate into a tax-free windfall, both during your life and after death. But the more powerful way is with life insurance. And again, I'm talking about permanent life insurance that has cash value. You can contribute more with life insurance than you can generally to a Roth. With a Roth IRA, though, it's easier to access your money if you need it. Roth IRAs are income tax-free too, but they are a part of your estate and subject to estate taxes. But Roth IRAs provide no additional death benefit, as life insurance does. Life insurance comes with a guaranteed death benefit, and that benefit, unlike a Roth IRA, can be set up to be estate tax-free too. So what can you do to remove both the stock market risk and the tax risk? First, you can leverage your retirement savings like an IRA. If you have a large IRA, it may pay to draw it down now and pay tax on the distributions. Then use those distributions to invest in a permanent life insurance policies. Remember that tax rates are still at an all-time low right now, so now would be the best time to strike. Even if it costs you some tax money, it still pays because you are lowering your tax exposure on your IRA. And anyway, after age 70 and a half, mandatory withdrawals from the IRA must begin, whether you like it or not. Since the money will eventually have to be withdrawn anyway, it may as well be leveraged by using the money to pay the life insurance premiums. You're basically paying off the mortgage on your IRA early, so you never have to worry about tax risk. And the funds invested in your permanent life insurance policy are now growing tax and risk-free. And you can have lifetime access to the cash value tax-free if you need it for retirement. So during your lifetime, you can, in effect, turn your taxable IRA and other taxable savings into a tax-free savings vehicle. It's really just like changing pockets from taxable accounts to tax-free accounts, except that now you've also built in a guaranteed death benefit to benefit your family. It's generally judgment-proof too, the life insurance I'm talking about. If you have other taxable funds, you might want to keep those protected from future taxes too. Many people who are looking for places to shelter money from taxes, stock market, risk, and lawsuits are stuffing taxable money into permanent life insurance as a lifetime personal protected savings account. All the growth is tax-free for life and beyond. So those are the benefits to you during your lifetime. What about post-death benefits for your family? Well, if you don't need to tap into the funds during your lifetime, your beneficiaries are guaranteed a death benefit. The stock market has no such guarantee. Your family will now have guaranteed access to a ton of tax-free cash. Tax-free means they keep every cent. No tax erosion here. They will have tax-free cash to pay estate taxes if needed, to pay expenses, debts, mortgages, all without triggering taxes or having to sell a family business or other valuable real estate or other property that could trigger taxes. If they had to use your IRA to pay these bills, they would first have to pay income taxes and maybe estate taxes too, leaving very little to pay bills or for them. So don't just sit there and admire your IRA like most people do. Leverage it now. Use it, leverage it, or lose it to possible future higher taxes. Never underestimate the value of leveraging IRA money by using it to pay life insurance premiums. The larger the estate, the higher the estate tax. Insurance money available to cover the estimated estate tax will avoid having to invade the IRA to pay the tax. Now, some people might say, but the current estate exemption now is so much higher, so there probably won't be any estate tax. You know what? This has been changing on and off over the years. This is not an option you can plan with. The estate tax exemption has been changing up and down, and you cannot take that kind of risk. Anyway, what's the downside? If there's no estate tax, your beneficiaries will simply inherit more money, and it'll all be tax-free. That's the downside. But okay, let's continue with that scenario. Let's say there is no estate tax. There are still plenty of uses for life insurance, even if there is no estate tax. You could use life insurance to replace stock market losses. I had a doctor client a few years ago that had this account. He had about $3 million in a brokerage account. And he said to me, I want that to go to my family. I don't want to touch that $3 million to go to my kids. But then the stock market crash hit, and he lost $1 million in the market. So now his value is only $2 million. What did he do? He went out immediately, got $1 million of life insurance. He replaced all that lost value immediately. Now he still has the $3 million to leave his kids. $2 million what's left in the portfolio, plus $1 million of life insurance. He replaced losses immediately. Life insurance can also be used to provide tax-free money for your beneficiaries so they don't have to withdraw amounts in excess of their required minimum distributions. Here's what I mean. You might want to set up a stretch IRA for them where they take only the minimum amounts each year. But what if they need more? What if they have to take more? You don't want them hitting the IRA and taking out more tax, and especially if it's a Roth IRA breaking into tax-free money. So the life insurance can provide them extra money in addition to the minimum withdrawals, so they can stick with the minimum withdrawal schedule, and any other money they need, they use the tax-free life insurance money. This will keep their income taxes lower, since the excess IRA distributions would have been taxable. The money they use from life insurance is tax-free. Also, this allows them to stick with the stretch IRA schedule instead of depleting the IRA balance before it's time. And it's even more powerful for a Roth IRA. This can also allow inherited Roth IRAs to last longer and continue to grow tax-free for your beneficiaries. Life insurance can also be used to simply create wealth. Your family can easily end up with millions more than you ever had, all tax-free. That's why when I talk to clients, I give them this scenario. First, like I said before, we find their net worth, the entire value of your estate. And then I ask, if I could create a plan so that after you die, your family will end up with your entire net worth, whatever that is, or much more, would that be a good plan? Of course that'd be a good plan. Where do I sign up for that? Who wouldn't want that? Does that mean there were no taxes or other expenses that depleted the estate? No, but we planned for that. And those items can be paid from the additional tax-free life insurance money, with plenty more left for your family. That's how any family's assets can be leveraged with life insurance to eliminate the effect of taxes and turn what was a taxable estate into a much larger tax-free estate. Here are some other uses for life insurance planning. If you have no retirement, you can actually create one with life insurance and have death benefit protection too, all guaranteed by moving other taxable money into your permanent life insurance policy. This provides a lifetime benefit for you. Life insurance can be a pension alternative too, providing beneficiaries with a tax-free stream of cash for the rest of their lives, similar to the stretch IRA, except that the life insurance is better than a stretch IRA because it's tax-free. And another benefit, money solves a lot of problems, not even always money problems. Families that don't get along. And it's not usually your children, it's the ones they marry. We had a case where one of the daughters just wouldn't even talk to the other 3 kids. So mom came to see me and she decided to take out $500,000 of life insurance, naming the 4 children as equal beneficiaries. When mom died, it didn't matter that one of the daughters wasn't talking to the others. Life insurance does not pass through a will. It is not subject to probate or income tax. So each of the children got their $100,000 checks with no fights and no contact. It's sad, but it avoided a ton of legal problems, will contests, and other expensive and nasty arguments. They just got the money straight out. So this is the basic strategy, turning taxable money into tax-free money using the tax exemption for life insurance, moving your money from accounts that are forever taxed to accounts that are never taxed. As tax rates increase, tax-free becomes much more valuable. Life insurance, like Roth IRAs, removes the uncertainty of what future tax hikes could do to your retirement savings. But is it all good? What's the downside? Nothing's all good. What's the downside? you might not qualify. Maybe you're too ill. Well, that's something you might want to look into annuities for that. That also gives you a guaranteed stream of income for life. Another downside, well, obviously you have to commit to funding the policy. If you don't put the money in, you won't have it. You also need to have funds available to invest. But that's where your IRA and other taxable funds come in. But if you don't have it, maybe it's not for you. Life insurance may not be for everyone. You don't want to go broke with it. If you don't have enough assets, you probably don't have a tax problem. And then it might not pay for you. Maybe you only need enough life insurance to protect your young family in case of an early death. That you should always have. The bottom line is that life insurance provides tax-free cash. Tax-free is always the best source of money, and it also solves lots of non-tax problems. Well, this is all good, but people make mistakes when it comes to life insurance planning and understanding life insurance. Here are the 5 most common life insurance mistakes. Mistake number 1, thinking that life insurance is a cost and not looking at it as an investment. If you put money in a bank account, that's an investment. This is the way you should look at life insurance. You want to put it in as an investment. And the bigger the number, the more you'll have. It's not a cost, it's your money, it's an investment. Item number 2, trying to pay the lowest amount for life insurance. It sounds good, right? Do you want to pay $1,000 or $10,000 for the policy? With permanent life insurance, you might want to pay more. Like I said in item 1, think of it like a bank account. You may want to maximize the amount you have available, so you put more in. Mistake number 3, not understanding the benefits. Now, I went through some of the benefits before, but let's review them. For example, with life insurance, you have a tax-free payout after death. And generally, it's judgment-proof. Also with life insurance, you have lifetime access to cash value, tax-free, so it won't increase your income. It won't cause Social Security to be taxed, and you won't lose tax benefits because your income increased, like losing exemptions, deductions, and credits. Life insurance is exempt from estate tax if it's set up right. And with life insurance, you get a guarantee, removing stock market risk. The government has restrictions on how much you can invest, but you generally want to put in the maximum you can. Mistake number 4, improper ownership. Don't own it in your own name. Why on earth would you want to own something like life insurance that you can't possibly collect on? Why would you? Keep it out of your estate. We see this all the time with clients. It's one of the biggest mistakes made. In fact, we had a young client, young couple come in recently, very successful couple, made a lot of money, and we were going through the assets they had, and the husband actually did have $5 million of insurance. And then when I looked at it, it was owned in his own name. And I said, what'd you do that for? Do you realize that if you die, that $5 million comes right back in your estate? And if your estate is subject to estate taxes, the government could get half of that. Why would you own it in your own name? You want to keep it out of your estate. And I told them, go back to your insurance agent and get, fix this. And it's not that easy to fix, but it can be fixed. There are waiting periods, but go back to your insurance professional. Well, when I said that, he said, I don't even remember who sold this to me. So this is just an aside. Don't you think you should have a better relationship with your advisor? You shouldn't own it in your own name. It should be owned by somebody else or a trust. The life insurance premium should be paid by the beneficiaries or by the trustee of an irrevocable life insurance trust, so that the life insurance proceeds will be estate tax free. Oh, and one item here. One downside, be aware that if you don't own the policy, which is what I'm saying to do, not to own it in your own name. If you don't own the policy, you may only have limited access to the cash value because you don't own it. Mistake number 5. Not knowing it's tax-free. I don't even know if this is a mistake or a misconception. Can you believe it? Still, people don't know that life insurance is tax-free. I get calls every now and then from a beneficiary. We did planning for their family, and they'll call me up and say, Ed, I just got this check. What do I do with it? How much do I owe in taxes? I said, I told you a million times, it's tax-free. The benefit is so good, even when people get the check, they don't believe it. The life insurance is tax-free. So let's review. Risk is a silent retirement killer. Life insurance can eliminate both stock market risk and tax risk. And it can be used during your life to create a tax-free retirement fund. Life insurance is not only income tax-free, but can be estate tax-free too. You can contribute almost unlimited sums to a permanent life insurance policy and have tax-free access to your cash value during your life without increasing your income. And don't forget about the most basic life insurance benefit. Aside from all the estate and retirement tax planning advantages, life insurance protects families when there's an early death, young families. It's hard enough to deal with the loss of a parent, but at least life insurance can provide the needed cash so that life can go on without having to make any severe changes due to lost income. Money for the family, tax-free money. I never met anyone who didn't wish they had more life insurance, especially a widow. I like to say that life insurance takes care of families without first going through the government. You need to review all of these points with your life insurance professional who can fill in the details. But now you're much better informed and ready for the conversation. You might actually even enjoy the conversation now with your life insurance agent. Can you believe it? Life insurance is not only the single biggest benefit in the tax code, but it's also the most cost-effective way to protect a large IRA. You need to have a discussion with a competent, educated advisor that, in addition to being a life insurance professional, has the specialized knowledge in retirement tax planning. The coordination is essential, especially if you've built up significant balances in your taxable IRAs or 401ks. Most advisors do not have this level of training, so be careful. As tax rates increase, life insurance becomes more valuable than ever before. And there are increases on the horizon. You have new health care taxes coming in, as well as higher tax rates. You can plan for that now, and if it doesn't happen, what's the downside? You and your family have sheltered that much more money, since it won't have to be used to pay taxes. Here are some of the frequent questions I get about life insurance. Ed, if the tax exemption for life insurance is so good, won't the government take it away? No. Why? It's a social reason. Why do you think our government encourages us to give money to charity? Because if you give money to charity, you get a tax deduction. Why is the tax code loaded with incentives to encourage us to give money to charity? Why does the government want us to give so much money to charities? Because they're broke, so they don't have to do it, to remove the burden from them. It's the same thing with life insurance. Our government is broke. Our government wants us to take care of our families so they don't have to. They want us to take care of our families with our own money, partnered with private insurance company money so that the government doesn't have to. Next question I get, Ed, what if I don't qualify for life insurance? I have to tell you, more people do qualify than you think. I've seen it even with very ill clients. So don't assume you won't qualify. Leave this to your life insurance professional to check for you. More people qualify than you think. Here's another question I love. Ed, how can life insurance companies do this? They'll lose a fortune. Oh, now you're worried about life insurance companies? Don't worry about them. They have actuaries. We're not going to hold any benefits right away for life insurance companies. They're doing fine. The answer is it's in the numbers. The risk is spread over a large pool of people. Don't worry about them. Insurance companies are some of the most solid financial institutions. Next question I get, Ed, why doesn't everyone do this? You know what? I don't know. I also think that insurance is not sold properly, so you look at it as a cost rather than investment. Many people think they're buying something and they don't see how it fits into a plan like I've been telling you about. A good financial advisor or insurance professional can explain the planning aspects. Ed, which is better, saving in an IRA or an insurance policy? That's interesting. Life insurance wins hands down. Let's compare. Let's compare life insurance to a tax-deferred retirement plan like an IRA or a 401k. If you compare life insurance to tax-deferred plans, life insurance has several advantages. First, with life insurance, you have lifetime access to cash value, tax-free and penalty-free. With an IRA, withdrawals can be heavily taxed and penalties too. Also with an IRA, after you're 70 and a half, you're forced to withdraw and pay taxes whether you like it or not. Life insurance provides a tax-free death benefit, income tax-free, estate tax-free too if owned properly. And with life insurance, there's no risk of future tax rates increasing. I mean, they could increase, you just don't care. Just so you know, the Roth IRA also provides this benefit. The reason you don't care is because what would you care about taxes if it's all tax-free? But here's what you don't get with life insurance that you do get with an IRA and a 401k. With life insurance, you don't get a tax deduction like you get with an IRA, a 401k. But a tax deduction these days is a trap because you'll pay much more in taxes later. All right, the last question I always get. Come on, Ed, are you working for the life insurance companies? This is too good. No, I told you that before. I'm here for you, telling you how to create and build tax-free wealth using the single biggest benefit in the tax code. I always say life insurance is the only legal way to print money. So there you have it. The problems, the benefits, both to you during your lifetime and for your family after your death. The bottom line, don't just sit there and admire your IRA or 401k. If you have a large IRA, you have a tax problem. It's tax deferred, a sitting duck just waiting to be taxed. Use it, leverage it, or lose it to future taxes. Do something now while the best options still exist. Move your money from accounts that are forever taxed to accounts that are never taxed. And good luck. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Very informative. Very informative. That's an investment. That's the safest investment. Way better than the 401k. So learn how to leverage your money. Like he said, he's the tax expert, so he knows all about the taxes, all the tax rules, and all that stuff. Learn how to leverage your 401k money. Leverage it. Take some of it out. Invest some of it into a permanent rider life insurance, guys. IUL. All right. That's one of my strategies. You know, the best way to keep your future money. Let's continue. I'm going to go into full details. So basically, this is my lifetime investment wealth building plan, which is plan number 4. If you guys paying attention. As you can see on the left hand side, what if the banker's rule of 72? Then what? All right. Rule of 72. 72 divided by rate of return equals year of money to double. All right. This is basically we have a course of the Rule 72. For those who don't know, we have a full course, masterclass course of financial literacy course of, what the Rule 72 is, and, and the whole formula of how to double your money. So basically, that's what it is, you know. And but to offset your account choices, you got a savings account method, which is interest credited zero. You got an open lock loan, a e-lock loan method, which is interest charge, which is zero. And then you got your insurance contract method, interest credited $400,000, projected asset generated using insurance contract method. You know, so basically, there's a video that explains to you more in details. Uh, that will be on the financial literacy how money works classes. So my next goal is to invest on new POLI, which is private owned life insurance account to protect myself, my money, my investments, my health, my family, my business, my assets, and future investments too. To find out more, watch this video how you can use a POLI. Which basically that's the video that you guys saw earlier. You know, that's the video that you guys saw earlier. Before I got into this section here. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I'll be glad to explain to you guys more about it. All right. But this is the best investment that you can make in your life. Way better than your 401k. Leverage your 401k, put some of that money tax free into a tax free POLI insurance, private owned life insurance. Be your own bank. Bank like a bank. All right. So let's continue. Again, invest on 10 of these. First of all, invest on your own business. Invest on a life insurance. You know, this company, Life National Life Group, been in business since 1848. That's over 174 years. Founders were innovators who created one of the first mutual life insurance companies in the country and the first with national vision. Again, the evolution of life insurance. See, when the COVID hit, then there was a new law in 2019 that was created, which was called the CARE Act 2020 Tax Laws 7702 and 101A, which it pertains to life insurance, you know, life insurance protection, tax free life insurance. See, years back, there was term protection life insurance. Then in the 50s, there was whole life insurance. Then there was cash value at 3 to 4%. You know, now in the 70s, this UL life insurance, universal life insurance, is flexible and it's 4 to 5% interest plus with death benefits. In the 80s, value universal life insurance, which is growth of 9 to 10% plus living benefits plus death benefits. In the 90s, insurance universal life guaranteed 7 to 8% interest, and investment on tax-free life insurance protected by the CARE Act 2020 Tax Law 7702 and 101A, which this particular creative life insurance it's going to be used like you banking in your own bank, like you being your own bank. You know, in the future, you could get a loan from it, you know, pay the loan off, and your money continues to grow as long as you continue to pay the premium payment. All right. And plus, you get live living benefits, live living benefits, and death benefits combined tax free. Guys, this is the best investments that you could get in. All right. So let's continue. Another investment, gold and silver. The advantages of gold and silver is good liquidity, hedge against inflation, safe against market volatility, valuable assets. Then invest only on 10 IPOs. For those who don't know, make sure they pertain to world investments like transportation, technology, education, food, health, energy, real estate, entertainment, business, fitness, agriculture. Okay? Net Capital is a site where you can invest on IPOs. All right? The five advantages of investing in IPOs. It's good. Raising funds. IPO is the most convenient option to raise huge capital by reaching out to a large number of individuals at the same time. Good liquidity. With an IPO comes great advantage of liquidity for all the stakeholders, including promoters and general public shareholders. Number three, improve finances. The advantage of IPO's launch covers benefits for overall finances of the company as well as its shareholders in more than one way. Invisibility. Increase visibility since the reach of an IPO, which stands for those who don't know, IPO stands for initial public offering investment, you know, privately owned company, you know, all right. So before, people like us, the middle class, couldn't invest on IPOs. This is all was secret, but now it's just open. Anybody could invest in IPOs now. Okay. So it's huge, guys. The entire country at one time, it contributes in making public aware about the company. Employee retention. This is a very underrated advantage of an IPO, yet very important for companies as well, as their employees often companies use IPOs to reward their employees in certain ways. So let's continue. And then you got investments and S&P groups stocks. Then you got your individual stocks like Google, Intel, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. Those are the major ones, guys. Major techs, investment stocks. Me personally, I don't invest on those. Those are individual stocks. I mostly invest on investment group stocks, which is more, you know, better. The advantages of investing in index funds investment group stocks is simple to comprehend, increased liquidity, professionally managed, incurs fewer charges. Okay, another investment is ETFs, investment groups. Okay, which is lower fund express, greater diversification. Why ETFs? More tax efficient, higher liquidity, convenience, and real time pricing. Four reasons why ETFs can be better choice over mutual funds. Those are the reason, guys. Those are the investments. Investment groups, index funds, ETFs. Those are the ones that I invest in. There's some people that invest in individual stocks. I don't. Another investment that I do is Fundrise. Why private real estate? Quality assets, low fees, smart technology. They blend their investment expertise with smart technology to provide over 371,000 investors and counting with the buying power and investment opportunities traditionally reserved for billion-dollar institutions. Investment Fundrise, you know, pre real estates. Pretty good money, guys. Pretty good money and safe also. You literally own different kind of properties, a piece of different kind of properties in all different states, at a very affordable price, starting at $10 every single month. Time is money, money is time. So let's continue. Portfolio is powered by high quality, resilient assets. Again, invite your friends to join my ICRFF Investors Fundrise Group for as little as $10 a month. You receive $25 investment shares for each friend that joins Fundrise. Fund your invitations. Each friend you invite will receive a bonus shares when they sign up too. All you have to do is click here, and it goes directly to the site where you can sign up, guys. What I want you to do is watch the video.
With Fundrise, the same kind of real estate investments that have powered the world's strongest portfolios for decades are now available to you. From properties generating income today to developments appreciating for tomorrow, the power of real estate investing is now in the palm of your hand. Join the community of over 150,000 investors who are building a better portfolio with Fundrise today.
There you go, guys. There's a little sample of what a Fundrise is all about. There are more. If you have any questions, just write them down and get in contact with me. At the end of this webinar, you're going to see my website where you can subscribe to my website, and also where you could get in contact with me too, right inside my website. So let's continue. Another investment. Another investment is Million Acres, which is reason to invest in land. Number one, good return on investment, low cost, low monthly cost. More land isn't being made like before. Little to no maintenance. Large opportunities, ways invest in land, flipping in land, developing raw land, buy and hold land, buy and lease land, buy, sell with owner financing. Another company, discount lots. Again, if you go Discount Lots was born with one simple idea: make land ownership easy, affordable for everyone. You find the lot, you purchase the property. Plain and simple. So, those are the investment, guys. Very simple and affordable investment that's not going to make a dent in your pocket, you know. So, the more you invest, the more assets you have. Again, money is not assets. Money is just paper. So assets are more valuable than money all the time. All right. So create assets, guys. Create assets. Establish assets. All right. The money will be there, but the assets will be there forever. And it's a cushion that if you have any financial issues, you can sell one of them and make money out of your asset, your valuable future assets. Okay. And you don't need a lot of money to create an asset, guys. If you need help on that, just let me know. That's what I'm here for. And we're almost to the end of part number 4. And what I want you to do is watch this video about, what is happening now in the economy and what can you do to protect yourself. Watch this video, guys. Enjoy, and I see you on part number 5, which is going to be next week. And part number 5, I'm going to be explaining to you guys and going more deeper into the how money works essential master classes, and also the financial literacy courses and credit repair courses, financial literacy group, and that's basically it on that. And that will be part number 5, which will be next Monday, next week. So write it down on the calendar. Next Monday, next week. Okay. Again, if you happen to miss part 4 of this webinar, please register to the site that you're going to see on the screen. Please register to the site, icrfinancialfitness.com/event registration. You can see me live when I have my live webinars, my live classes, my live podcasts, and it pre-records so you can still register and see, the whole entire webinar from part 1 through 8. Okay. Right now, this was part 4. Next week will be part 5. So if you missed this one, part 1, 2, 3, and you missed part 4, make sure you register. That way, you catch up. All right. So thank you very much for those who tune in today. Stay tuned for this video. You have a great day. Looking forward to seeing more people in attending my webinar. And it's very important that you do, especially in your financial distress, and especially if you have credit issues. So if you want to improve your credit, improve your finances, I suggest you register to that website that you see on the screen. Now let's go to the video.
What's up everybody? I am Jaspreet Singh, and in a time where we're seeing the stock market getting hit hard and we're seeing the crypto market crashing and now we're seeing the real estate market starting to slow down, we are facing a strange everything bubble that is now losing air. Asset prices go up when an asset becomes more valuable or when there's more dollars out there that want to buy this asset. And for the last number of years, we've had a lot of cheap debt being printed. We've had low interest rates and we've had a lot of money printed by the Federal Reserve Bank, which has flown into asset, which essentially created this everything bubble that inflated the price of assets across the board. The thing about bubbles is that they're not always a bad thing. I mean, it's a good thing when you're the one that's making money, but it's a bad thing when the bubble bursts and then you're the one that's holding onto the asset that's losing its value. So you want to understand how the bubbles work and then where the bubbles are, because we have different types of bubbles out there, and so you want to understand the different ways that they work. The way that I want to do this is, first I want to talk about the basics of bubbles and how they work. Second, I want to talk about real estate. Are we creating a real estate bubble and how does that work? Third, you'll see how that ties in to the tech bubble. Fourth, I'll talk about the stock market and are we seeing a bubble there? And then fifth, I'm going to wrap up with talking about cryptocurrency and are we seeing a bubble in the cryptocurrency market. So let's start by talking about bubbles 101. We live in a credit-based economy. That means that you have the ability to spend not based off of how much money you have, but credit you qualify for. So the way that this works in a quick nutshell is, if you go to work and you make $1,000 in a money-based society, that means you can only spend $1,000. So if you were to go onto Amazon and you see a nice big screen TV out there, but it cost $1,500, you wouldn't be able to buy it because you only have $1,000 in your pocket. However, that's not the way that our economy works, because we live in a credit-based society. So people spend not based off of how much money they earn, but based off of how much credit they qualify for. And maybe if you earn $1,000, you can also spend $1,000 worth of credit or debt. So now when you go into Amazon and you see the $1,500 TV, you say, oh yeah, I got $1,000 plus I can get $500 from my credit card. So now you have the ability to spend more money, which means the economy can grow even faster, because our economy relies on spending. The more money that you spend, the more money that somebody else makes. The reason why this is so important is because this is the first aspect to creating a bubble, because now when you spend based off of credit or based off of debt, what are you doing? You're using tomorrow's income to pay for an item today. So now when you go and you start spending more and more debt, eventually you're going to hit a breaking point, because people are greedy. We want the nice stuff and we don't want to wait until we can ultimately afford it and earn it. We want it today. This has been happening across time, across civilizations. So now what happens? You spend too much money with the help of credit today, and now you have too much debt. When you have too much debt, that means now in the future, you're spending more of your income to pay off your past credit, to pay off your past debts. So you have to cut down your spending, because now all of your spending is going to pay back the previous stuff. And now when that happens on a broad scale, people stop spending money on stuff because they're working to just pay down their debts, and that slows down the economy, because now people don't have money to spend because all their money is going to pay back all their previous purchases. That's why we see economic cycles like this. We see booms and busts in pretty much every asset class, from the stock market to the real estate market to the cryptocurrency market, because then you'll see the economy grow, it'll grow too fast, get too overheated, and then it'll slow down, and that'll hurt the stock market and pretty much every other asset class. But then if you go a little bit deeper, you'll start to see how super bubbles get created. So this type of boom and bust economy is a byproduct of our credit-based system, because eventually people will spend too much money, they'll take on too much debt, and then they will want to pull back, and this pullback causes a slowdown in the economy, in asset prices, until people can then start spending again, and then it happens again, because people never learn. Because while history doesn't repeat itself, it does rhyme. But then on top of that, sometimes we can also have super bubbles where you have a much bigger boom, which results in a much bigger bust. These super bubbles come now not just from the credit-based system, but when you have easy capital plus FOMO, the fear of missing out. When you combine these two things together, that's how you can create a super bubble, which causes a much bigger crash and a much more painful crash. We saw that happen in 2008, where we saw a super bubble in the real estate market. We saw it happen in the 2000-2001 dot-com burst because we saw a super bubble in dot-com companies. When money is easily accessible, maybe interest rates are very low, so it's very cheap to borrow money, or inflation is rampant, so there's a lot of money being printed and money is just being thrown out there. Now there's a lot of dollars out there. It can get thrown into bad ideas or places that are not sustainable. And then when you have FOMO, the fear of missing out, where a lot of dollars start to chase these exciting and shiny ideas, they don't have real value, they don't have sustainable value. That's how you can create a super bubble, because then people start chasing tulips. And if you don't understand that reference, it's because the first financial bubble in recorded history was a tulip bubble. Literally the flower, the tulip, Netherlands in the 1600s and early 1700s, where people got so excited by this idea of getting rich off of tulips that some people were selling their homes and using their home revenue to then go out and buy a tulip because they thought that tulips were going to make them rich. And then people realized that tulips were just a flower, and then that bubble burst. It was a super bubble. A more recent example of this is WeWork. So WeWork is a company where they would lease primetime office space from an office building, and then they would sublease their office to freelancers and side hustlers, people who wanted a cool place to work. So they were ultimately a real estate company, but they pitched these huge valuations, these huge ideas, these huge potential profits in the future, which didn't really make sense. But there was a lot of easy capital out there, because even before the 2020 pandemic, interest rates were still low. Like in 2019, the Fed started cutting interest rates to stimulate the economy even more, because in 2019 they were already worried about a potential recession. And you had all this cheap money out there that was looking for a place to invest. And WeWork kept pitching the idea of how they were going to take over the world, and it started creating FOMO. I mean, these are smart, accredited investors who saw this idea and didn't want to miss out, because a lot of big name people were investing in the company, and they thought, if this company is investing in WeWork, we can't lose money either. And then WeWork was ultimately valued at almost $50 billion. Like, they were worth more than companies like FedEx and Target, even though WeWork was making no profits and they had no plan on how they would become profitable. And then eventually that bubble burst. It was worth way too much money, and now new investors looked at it and said, we don't want to invest more money in this. It's way too valuable. People are buying it just on the hopes of getting rich quick, but we can't justify this valuation anymore. And then WeWork's valuation dropped from just over $50 billion to right around $5 billion in a matter of weeks. The bubble lost its steam, and then all the dollars started flowing out, and the valuation dropped like a rock. When you have this sort of easy capital plus the fear of missing out, this can create a super bubble. Now that you understand how bubbles work and how they're formed, let's start by talking about the real estate market. And one thing that I do want to give you a little caveat of is, I'm not telling you not to invest in any of these asset classes. What I'm telling you is just to understand how these markets work. That way you can find the opportunities. What we're seeing happening in the housing market today is very different than what we saw happen in the housing market before the 2008 crash. Before the 2008 crash, we saw a super bubble in the real estate market, and the way that was formed is that home prices grew to astronomical levels, and people were buying homes who shouldn't have, because banks were then lending money to subprime lenders. These are people that shouldn't normally qualify for a home. And then they were also giving out a whole adjustable rate mortgages with a very low teaser rate, which means that people were getting these big mansions at a very low interest rate for the first few years. And then what banks didn't tell them is, after a few years of you living in this home, your mortgage rate is going to readjust. And then the mortgage rate readjusted, and people saw that the monthly payments went from $500 a month to literally $1,800 a month. And they said, I can't afford this extra $1,300 a month in payments. So they go back to the bank and they say, we need to refinance because we can't afford this extra payment. And the bank would say, okay, no problem. Except when many people started to do this, home prices started to fall. And then when home prices started to fall, the bank said, well, you have no equity in your home anymore. You bought your home for $400,000 and now it's only worth $350,000, so we can't refinance you. And then you couldn't even sell your home because now you would have to come to the closing table with cash. So you couldn't get out of the property, and now you were underwater in your home, and this is what caused so many people to get foreclosed on. And then once people started to get foreclosed on, the housing market started to crash, And then you had everything going on with Wall Street, because Wall Street was then taking these mortgages, dicing them up in these mortgage-backed securities, selling them off as different investments, and this created a whole trickle-down domino effect in Wall Street, causing almost the entire financial system to collapse. Today, we're seeing something very different. We don't have the same type of subprime lending. We are seeing adjustable rate mortgages making a comeback, but still we're nowhere near where we were back before 2008. The difference that we're seeing in the housing market today is one, in the economy, second, in home prices, and third, the way people are buying homes. And this will help you understand the real estate bubble that we're in right now, because we're almost always in some sort of stock market real estate bubble, because when we have this credit-based system, bubbles are a part of the system. You're either in a boom or you're in a bust. That's the way that the system works. So let's start by talking about the economic differences, because right now we are facing a very different economy than what we saw happen in the 2008 market. In the 2008 real estate market crash, when the bubble burst, it burst because of the housing market, and then that trickled down to pretty much every other aspect of the economy. Today, our housing market is, however, the other aspects of our economy are starting to struggle. We are seeing a slowdown in spending. We're seeing a slowdown in the economy. We're seeing inflation still running very strong. All these things are hurting people, and it's hurting the economy, and that can then have a trickle-down effect into real estate. Before, real estate trickled down into the economy. Today, the worry is that our economic slowdown can trickle down into real estate. What's happening in the economy today is we're having the super high inflation, which is causing people to spend less money. Actually, you're spending the same amount of money or more, you're just buying less stuff. And now, because you can afford less stuff, less businesses are making money because they're just not selling as much stuff. That's causing an economic slowdown. And if that continues, if this economic slowdown continues and we go deeper into a bad recession, that could result in more layoffs. That could result in businesses getting shut down. And if that happens, well, then people lose their incomes. And if people lose their incomes, they no longer have the ability to pay their mortgages. And if people can't pay their mortgages, that could cause a big slowdown in the real estate market. This is different than what happened in 2008, because in 2008 it was the opposite. The real estate market then trickled down into the economy. Today, the worry is that the economy could trickle down into the real estate market. The second difference that we have today is, let's just assume that the real estate market flips and now people don't have the ability to make their mortgages. Well, we're in a very different situation where today people have equity in their homes because home prices have gone up so much. So even if now you lose your job, well, you can sell your home, walk away with $100,000 and now move into an apartment. Now this could flip. Obviously, if things get really bad in the economy and home prices drop significantly, that could affect home prices and affect equity. But right now, where we are today, people have a lot of equity, which was not what happened in the 2008 crash, because then nobody had equity. They were all underwater, and that's what drove home prices even lower. And then probably the most interesting part has to do with the buying side of real estate, because before the pandemic, the people that bought homes were people who wanted to buy a home, and then it was your small-time investors, regular people. Maybe you had a couple properties, maybe a dozen, maybe a few dozen, but that was the bulk of people buying homes. Nowadays, we've been seeing a lot more corporations and institutions start buying homes, but the interesting thing is how they're buying homes. Because when the 2008 crash happened, it was triggered through mortgage-backed securities. Now the concern is what happens with these security-backed mortgages. It's the opposite of what happened before, because what happened before is you would go out and buy this home. So this is you right here. Now, people would take this and they would take a bunch of these, package them up together, chop them up, and then sell them as a security or an investment. So Wall Street would take your mortgages and then sell these as an investment. But what's happening today is you have a lot of these institutions out there that are now borrowing money because they own a lot of securities. They own investments in the stock market, they own tech investments, so they have these high valuations in the stock market. They're taking debt based off of what these investments are worth, and then they're going out and buying real estate. So this is very different than what happened before, because now if security values, meaning investment values, fall, so if the stock market crashes and then these investment firms that are investing in real estate are forced to now sell or cover their losses, they could be forced to now sell their real estate as a way to cover their stock losses. Now, of course, this is just a theory, But this is something that you want to be aware of, because now when you have all these major institutions buying up real estate across the country that are able to leverage and buy these properties partially because of the value of their other portfolios, their stock portfolios and their other business portfolios, if these values go down, that could affect what they do in their housing market holdings. You'll see how each one of these start to build on top of one another. And again, this does not mean that you shouldn't be investing in real estate, because again, bubbles can create a lot of opportunity and nobody knows when anything will go down. I mean, the Fed could turn around and start cutting interest rates in the next 6 months, and that would cause asset prices to continue going up for the near future, or for however long that they keep printing more money. So you don't want to just start changing your investment strategy, but rather you want to be looking for the right opportunities when you do invest your money, because nobody can perfectly time the market. Now, if you are looking for an easy way to invest your money in real estate or get that real estate exposure without going out and finding a property yourself, you can check out our sponsor Fundrise, which makes it very easy for you to get exposure to the real estate market. I have personally invested my own money into Fundrise. The way it works is Fundrise is going out, investing and finding good prime time properties, and then when you invest your own money into Fundrise, now you get exposure to one of these portfolios. The nice thing about Fundrise is you don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars to now go out and start investing in real estate. You can start investing with as little as $10, and if you have $1,000 to $5,000, that will get you access to some of the better portfolios. And then you can set up something like an auto invest, where now every month you're investing a little bit more money into your portfolio. That way you can invest and build your portfolio of real estate. Now, you don't got to worry about trying to find a perfect property or trying to find tenants or trying to find a good property manager. You just invest your money and let Fundrise and the developers do their thing. Plus, with their auto invest feature, you can essentially do dollar cost averaging into the real estate market now, because you can just consistently keep investing your money into your Fundrise portfolio. That way now you don't got to perfectly try to time the real estate market. You just keep building up some more exposure into real estate. And the nice part about this type of real estate investing is you can also get regular cash flow, because now, assuming your investment does well, Fundrise will pay you with quarterly dividends just for investing with them. So if you want to see how you can get exposure to real estate through Fundrise with as little as just $10, I'll put the link to how you can do that down in the description below. The tech bubble is where things start to get really interesting, because we have a lot of well-known companies, from Uber to Peloton to Airbnb, which are not profitable. But these companies were able to get the market share and get to where they are today through the help of outside money. Now, if we go back to that example that I was talking about a little bit earlier, where super bubbles are created when you have cheap and easy capital plus the fear of missing out. Well, that can help some companies grow very big and they can become successful companies, but it can also build super bubbles from companies that aren't so good. See, up until just like the early part of 2022, if you were a startup and tech company, you were discouraged from making a profit. Because if you made a profit as one of these startup techie type of companies, then you weren't growing as fast as you could have, and that was hindering your market share, was hindering how big of a company you could be, and no investor wanted you to make a profit because it was so easy to get capital from somewhere else. Interest rates were low, the Fed was printing money like crazy, and so these big institutions as to hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, that they just needed to throw into investments that could hopefully become successful one day. So if you had an idea, it was very easy, or easier, for you to secure capital from these institutions. And then you could take this money and invest it into growth, and this is what allowed so many companies to grow quickly, because you were able to sell $1 for 90 cents. Like Uber, for example, they were able to sell rides at a loss, where every time somebody rode in Uber, they were losing money. Now, in traditional business terms, that makes no sense. How could you operate a business if you're losing money every time somebody uses your product? Well, they didn't care about making a profit because the investors wanted just to grow quickly. They said, Uber, don't worry about it. We will throw hundreds of millions of dollars at you. That way you can continue to gain your market share, to get people to love Uber. That way one day you'll be able to raise your prices and then you can become profitable. Well, the question that everybody's facing in the tech world is, which of the companies are gonna be able to turn the dial? Which of the companies are now gonna be able to raise their prices, lower their expenses, and become profitable, because some companies are not gonna be able to do it. That's why this side of the bubble is already starting to burst, because now the Federal Reserve Bank is working to raise interest rates, which makes it harder to find the cheap and easy capital, because now money is becoming more expensive, so investors want better returns on their money. So they're looking at some of these startups and saying, we can't justify the valuations that you have. So we can't throw more money at you. So now you, the company, need to figure out how you can make a profit. Either you're going to have to raise your prices or you're going to have to cut your cost. And so now you have pretty much a major hiring freeze across the entire tech sector, and now you're starting to see a number of layoffs. Some of the big names that have started layoffs over the last 45 days include Carvana, Netflix, Peloton, Bird, Better, Robinhood. All of these companies, while some of them might have a good product, were able to grow so big because nobody cared about profitability, and the companies never looked or thought about how they would become profitable. Instead, the only thing they cared about was growing. And so if you can sell $1 for 90 cents, then you can grow your market share and you can grow how big that you are. But now the interest rates are rising, they're having to change the way that they operate, and now all these tech companies are scrambling to find a way to become profitable. And these are just the big names. There's a lot of the smaller companies that are just going to have to shut their doors because they didn't even have a way to generate revenue yet. And so we're going to see a big change in the tech market because many people assumed that this cheap and easy capital environment would be here to stay, but now we're seeing that shift very quickly. Now there is something that I'm worried about here. And this has to go to the concept of moral hazard. And moral hazard is essentially where you now get paid even if you lose. And if you get paid to lose, then what's the point of trying to manage your risk? So what I mean by this is what happens is a potential concern that our economy continues to slow down and interest rates continue to go up. And now we start to see more layoffs across the board. It's not just the tech sector, but now we're starting to see more layoffs. And now the Fed looks at the economy and they say, oh no, our economy is slowing down. People are starting to lose jobs. This is not a good sign for our economy. It's not a good look for our economy. So we're going to ignore this fight on inflation. And now we're going to start cutting interest rates and make this cheap money more accessible again. Because they're worried about what? You're worried about people losing their jobs. Well, what is that going to create? It's going to allow people to access this cheap money again, which would allow this bubble to start flowing again. Think of it like a bounce house, where if you turn off the fan, which is blowing air into the bounce house starts to go down. And so this air is the free money. So if the Fed starts turning on the fan again, they start blowing more cheap money into the system, well, that will allow the bubble to grow even bigger because the Fed will say, we don't want people to lose their jobs. However, sometimes economies need to go down. Recessions are a part of a working credit-based system where it allows for a refresh. It allows the bad companies to go under. It allows the bad investments to refresh. That way you can have an influx of good companies, strong companies, stable companies, fundamental companies, and good businesses that allow our labor and innovation to thrive. This then brings us to the stock market, which now is based on valuations. Because now some of these companies, these tech companies, are on the stock market. And when these tech companies start to lose value very quickly, it can create fear and it can create panic because people start to see that, oh my God, my tech portfolio is down 50% in just 6 months. And that could create some panic and people would start selling their stocks. Now, a more sophisticated, astute investor might say, okay, I want to invest more of my money into a stable company, a value company, so it could change where people invest their money. However, people look at the stock portfolio and the reality is people are emotional. I mean, whether you're a retail regular investor or a big institution investing hundreds of millions of dollars, people get emotional and that's why these bubbles get formed. And so when people are worried about valuations and they're worried about company growth and they're worried about these types of layoffs, well, that can push stock prices lower. And the stock market is an emotional tool because when you start to see stock prices go down, people get scared. And that fear then forces more people to sell. And that causes stock prices to go even lower, which causes more fear, which causes more selling. And so these emotions can cause stock prices to go lower than where it should normally be. And booms cause stock prices to go up higher than where they should normally be as well. Because when the stock market goes up, people get greedy. They see, oh my God, people are making so much money off of this. So more people come in and start buying, not because of the fundamentals, but because they see how everybody everybody else is getting rich. It's that FOMO. So more and more money comes in until you hit a tipping point, and then people realize, oh my God, this company is way overvalued, and then it starts to go down, and that selling starts to trigger more fear, which brings the stock lower than where it should be. So that's how these booms and busts go, and this is where now you got to pay attention to the stock market, because sure, the tech sector is one thing, but interest rates affect all aspects of business, because when interest rates go up, that makes it more expensive to operate, because now you have to pay more money on your debt, so you have more expenses, and when inflation is high, it's harder for businesses to operate, because now you're able to sell less stuff. Sure, people are paying more dollars per item, but you're not selling as many items, so you're not actually making more money. And that can hurt businesses. And when that happens, that's where you got to pay attention to what's happening in the stock market. And this is where now we start to tie things together. Because if the stock market continues to go down, because the economy is getting worse, because businesses are doing as well, because the economy is not doing as well, well, then what happens then to all these institutions which are investing in real estate and other assets based off of their stock portfolios? And so if someone's stock portfolio goes down and now you're forced to call or make a payment based off of your losses, you could be forced to liquidate some of your other assets. Maybe it's tech assets, maybe it's real estate assets. So this is where things now start to get tied together. And this brings me to cryptocurrency. Now, cryptocurrency is interesting because you have a lot of different coins out there, a lot of different blockchains. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. And when you have these cheap dollars out there, you could really start to build these super bubbles within coins, because when you have this cheap and easy money, a lot of people have cash to throw around, and then you have FOMO because people hear of everybody getting rich off of some random meme coin that can cause a massive bubble and then a massive crash. And so what does that mean in the cryptocurrency market? Well, because cryptocurrency is such a newer asset class, there's a lot more speculation, there's a lack of regulation. You can have some very bad coins which can grow very quickly because people can talk about all these potential gains that you could potentially see, and people don't want to miss out on these gains, so they start throwing their money in there. However, at the end of the day, when we enter these type of environments where interest rates are going up and the bad money is starting to leave, that's when the air leaves the bubble, and the first one to go are the bad investments, the ones that don't have real value, the ones that don't provide a real technology. And so if you're investing in crypto, you have to understand now that cryptocurrency is already very volatile. It's already very speculative. And when we start to see more of this money leaving, it's going to hurt cryptocurrency especially harder, because now these bad cryptocurrencies, some of them are going to fail. Maybe even many of them will fail. And then when they fail, that can create more panic, it can create more fear, and that can force people to sell. And again, just like the stock market, that selling triggers more fear, which creates more panic, which creates more selling. So that can push the crypto prices of good assets in crypto down even lower than where they should be. Just like how in the stock market, when you have this type of fear, it can push the prices and valuations of good stock market assets lower. So you have bad assets that push the prices of good assets down. And this is where now you got to understand, what is it that you're investing for? If you believe in crypto, if you don't believe in crypto, then don't invest in crypto. But if you believe in crypto, you believe in the value of the blockchain, you believe in the value that cryptocurrency can provide, then now what you're looking for is your good investments. And if you see a good buying opportunity, that's an opportunity for you to come in and purchase a distressed asset on a discount. But in the environment that we've been brewing over the last number of years, we've seen bubbles grow pretty much across all asset classes. And now the question is the Fed going to work to pop the bubble by raising interest rates and pulling all of that free and cheap money out? Or are they going to turn around and keep inflating the bubble and turning that money fan on to blow the bubble up even bigger? If you enjoyed this video and you want to see how you can take advantage of this once in a lifetime opportunity to build wealth, I made a video covering that, and you can watch that video by clicking this button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling. When the 2020 pandemic happened, that was when the stock market and cryptocurrency was the biggest opportunity. Next time,
Welcome to the dark side. Black Rose.